Well, hi. My clock tells me that it's bang on 7 o'clock, so that's probably good enough for me. Good evening. Welcome to episode 11. Am I counting that right? 11 of Shelf Analysis. And the more observant amongst you will have noticed that I've moved location tonight. I'm in the kitchen. We did some of the original, the first one or two of them in the kitchen as well. And it's just that it's slightly earlier in the evening and it's slightly brighter. And that makes this a slightly nicer place to do the show from. So in the kitchen for the next 30 minutes or so. If this is your first one to watch, you can catch all the previous episodes in the announcements section here in the Ricochet Book Club, or if you're watching this on RTE Culture, you'll be able to see some of the previous episodes there as well. Just look us up, Google it here in RTE Culture as well. And thanks so many for joining us tonight. How are you getting on? It's a genuine question. Stick it in comments. Let me know how today has been treating you, because we are heading into a bank holiday weekend and it looks like we're here for the duration. And I mean all of us, and I mean the radio shows, and I mean this particular chat show thing. We have a ton of guests. I pretty much have us lined up to the end of April, and even then I'm planning on continuing this into May anyway. Let's see where we go from here. I'm not going to make any promises beyond that, but I've got some exceptional people lined up over the course of the next few weeks. Firstly, there is no show on Monday. It is a bank holiday Monday. I'm taking it off. Sorry. So the next shows next week will be on Wednesday and Thursday night. But we've got two great shows next week for Wednesday and Thursday, and then back to normality the week after that, or what we laughingly call normality these days, on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday of the week following. First things first, where am I going to go? I'm going to go with this. Normally, right about now, I'd be listening to John Kelly on RT Lyric FM, on that radio there behind us, and the wonderful Mystery Train show, which you should be doing anyway, obviously not until you've finished watching this. You can have him on in the background. He has just tweeted this. Kevin Barry has a new book out in October. Now, I'm sure loads of people are going to go, oh, sure, we all knew about that. This is relatively new information to me. This is coming out through Canongate in October. It's called That Old Country Music. I know nothing about it beyond that, but there's a new Kevin Barry coming up. And if anybody can get me a copy of it, I will. The things I will do for you, if you can get me a physical copy of the new Kevin Barry book at any point. The post is still working in RTE. You know where I am. Ricochet Radio Building, RTE, Donnybrook, Dublin 4. Thank you very much. Other things worth talking about before we get to tonight's guest. And tonight's guest is one of the biggest selling Irish authors of all time, as was last night's author. If you missed Marion Keyes, she was fantastic. The two of us spent much of the show talking about Foundation. And then I met a couple of people in the real world today who were saying, loved you and Marion talking about Foundation last night. They didn't really mention the books. They were talking about the nature of makeup. This is also in the book club, if you want to have a quick look as well. I stuck it up last night. I'm always loath to put up other things that aren't book things, but that are other projects that I'm doing in the book club. But at the moment, this might help. So if you look, you'll find this in announcements. And it's also pretty high up the stream as well. I've created a playlist on Spotify. I tend not to do these things, because mainly my job is to play music and convince you to not listen to streaming services. However, I made this because for a lot of people, I was having conversations about people having trouble concentrating, just needing something to kind of maybe zen down at various different points of the day. Maybe there's something that, you just need to relax. You need an hour of time at any point of the day to go, I'm just going to put this on. And it's just going to make everything better. So it's a Cabin Fever Zen playlist. It is available on Spotify. The link is here in the Ricochet Book Club if you want to go and find it there. Go have a look. You'll find all of the details further there, or you'll find it on my Twitter. You'll find it on all the other stuff there as well. Where am I going next? I'm going to go to Karina. Let's see what Karina, our in-house houseplant, is reading. Just to remind you again, all this month, Karina, as many truly great readers are, is involving herself in the Read Irish Women Challenge 2020. So for each day, Karina is reading a book that fits in with the day that you have here. We are currently the 9th. I think I have that right. So Karina should be reading a book that challenged the way she saw the world, which means let me double check and see what Karina is reading tonight. If I can press this button and make it happen here. Karina, hi. How are you doing? You're engrossed. Oh, you're fine. Oh, you're busy. Okay. I wasn't sure whether or not that was a static screen. Wi-Fi at this hour of the evening. Reading Edna O'Brien's wonderful Girl. I will be with you, Karina, on this. That is one of those books that changed the way I saw that particular part of the world as well. If you haven't read Edna O'Brien's most recent novel, it is based in and around the Boko Haram kidnappings of schoolgirls in Nigeria a number of years ago, and it's based around the main central character is one of the girls who is kidnapped. It's about her, it's about what happens to her after the kidnapping with her friends, and then it's also about her attempting to reintegrate herself back into her original communities as well. Karina, good one, good call. I salute you. Edna O'Brien's Girl. You'll have something new for us on Wednesday night of next week. Okay, plenty of time to finish that. Thank you, Karina. Thank you. Okay, Karina's in and done and out. My book recommendation for you tonight, and if you've seen me either online or you've been part of the book club or you've heard me on the Sean O'Rourke Show or pretty much anywhere, I've managed to squeeze this book, I think, into every single list that I've done at various points throughout the space of the last few months. And I think it's perfect for now. It is, there you go, Ronan Hession's Leonard and Hungry Paul. If you haven't come across this yet, Ronan he's a first-time author, despite the fact that Ronan would be well known through the music scene prior to that. Ronan's book is about two guys, Leonard and Hungry Paul. Let's keep it relatively simple. One of whom is a man who kind of works as a part-time postie, one of whom ghost writes encyclopedias. And the two of them are some of the more gentle, human, wonderful, normal yet slightly strange characters you will come across in the book. It is not a book of huge drama. It is a book of character. It's a book about these two men and their friendship. And there aren't an awful lot of books around that simply just deal with it. I laughed an awful lot while I was reading it. Put out through a relatively small UK press, hello, Blue Moose Books. But nonetheless, the book has managed to find itself an enormous audience, and it's also been one of those books that has been nominated for a lot of awards this year as well. So the book, one more time, that's my recommendation tonight, Leonard and Hungry Paul by Ronan Hession. Anything else to do? I don't think I have anything else to do. I think it's time to get into the bones of tonight's shelf analysis. Every night, we bring you to the house of an author somewhere around the world. We've done ones in the UK. We were in the United States earlier this week with Janine Cummins. We've done ones in Ireland. We've done ones in Northern Ireland. Tonight's one, weirdly, I'm going to a man for whom the room I'm about to go into and the room I'm about to show you, I've actually been in this room, which is highly unusual. In fact, we recorded an entire interview in this room. Hello, Eoin Colfer.
Rick, how are you? Welcome back. Welcome back to the Red Room.
It's not quite the same at a distance. I'm going to be honest with you. It doesn't have the same ambience.
No, well, you can't lie on the sofa from a distance, but I assure you, it's still there. So it's my office actually in the garden. It's a really nice. I'm very lucky to have it.
For those people who have absolutely no sense of what we're talking about here, maybe just give us a brief example of where you are, what the room is. It's where you write, but it's also kind of a little Superman fortress of solitude.
I can give us a walk around. Tour around.
Yeah.
So this is my one of my favorite paintings. First of all, which is, I don't know if you can see that, it's a lovely Bowie by Tony Di Terlizzi. So he's kind of always watching over me. But then out there, you have my garden in Monkstown. But then as you can see, I'm over my own head there.
It's an unusual angle.
Weird. And people always ask, but the idea is that if you lie on the sofa, you can see the ocean through the mirror, which is quite relaxing. I think you have to lie at a very strange angle, which I haven't. All I can see is I can see the trees, but I haven't. My son is taller than me, and somehow he can see the ocean. So I have this lovely shelf analysis. I have my own. This is where I can have my altar to myself, which I'm not allowed to have in the house. So I can have my books there. But I think all my life I've wanted a really cool office, and finally I've managed to score myself one. So I know, especially in these times, a lot of my friends are saying, "Oh my God, I wish I had your office just to escape to." But yeah, it's a great place, and it's very soundproofed, and it has massive windows, so it's feels like I'm outside even when I'm inside, which is great.
It's part Superman Fortress of Solitude. It's part Tony Stark's house. It's all of these things, which is.
I think it might be part Austin Powers as well.
It could be. Tell me, because one of the first questions I've had for everybody as we've done these over the space of the last few weeks is how have you and how have the family been getting on? Because you, like everybody else, are in the same situation that we all are in. What's it been like where you are the last couple of weeks?
I am trying to maintain what might be called a prudent level of anxiety. So enough anxiety to motivate me, but I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of terror that you can very easily do if you have kids or parents. If you're lucky, your mom and dad are still alive. My mom is still alive. So if you kind of lie still and you start thinking about that, it can get really scary. So much so that you'll be immobilized. It's a little bit like a writer's block. So I try not to let that happen, but at the same time, I'm trying to stay watchful enough that I, keep the boys in and wash my hands and do all the other stuff. But really, on a day-to-day basis, I spend 6, 7, 8 hours in this office anyway, and so that large part of my waking day hasn't really changed. And there's been a nice byproduct in that Jackie and I have dinner every night with the two boys. Not at the moment now because Jackie's down in Wexford with her mum. Her mum is 94, so that kind of thing is tough to organise as well. She's going to mind her mum in Wexford, and she was stopped twice by the guards, rightly so. But it's like a whole new world for us to be stopped on the road to go mind your mum. So
I was stopped on the way into work today and on the way out from work today, and I just ended up having the chats with the guards and going, "So how are things for you? How have you been getting on? This isn't an easy gig," and they seem quite okay to have the chats. But is it strange in that for me, and I don't know, maybe for you as well, is it starting to almost feel normal in some strange way?
It is starting to feel normal, I think, and that's gonna. I think a large part of this is the new normal. I mean, I don't think people are ever really going to go back 100% to shaking hands and hugging people they haven't seen in a while. So
I mean, we will, obviously.
Obviously, we will, but people who are not as friendly as us. But I think also people will think long and hard about going to anything after this, and I think masks will be probably normal from now on, like they are already in Japan. I think that's going to be here too. So we're never really going to go 100% back, I don't think. Now, obviously, I'm not a trained doctor, but that's just my Wexford opinion. And as you know, Wexford people do know most things. So
yeah, I know enough of you to know that you think you know many things, my Wexford friends. I do. Before I'm going to ask you to talk about the books that you've chosen this evening, firstly, let's have a conversation about Hi-Fire, because this is also something I've rattled on about quite a lot, and something that maybe might be wonderful for people right now who are looking for something that's an easy read that will make you laugh like a drain quite frequently. Tell us a little bit about the book.
Hi-Fire is the story of the last dragon, Lord Hi-Fire, who is now reduced to being called plain old Vern. And Vern lives in the swamps in Louisiana, and he's having a nice quiet life, drinking martinis, watching Netflix. Flashdance is one of his favorites. And then he gets drawn into this kind of this crime story involving a very twisted constable in Petit Bateau in Louisiana, and from there down to a crime lord in New Orleans. So it's what I like to do is to go into a genre and then mess around with that genre. So it is the kind of book where there's a dragon, and he's not a noble dragon. He's more like a Homer Simpson dragon. He drinks a lot of beer, watches TV. He's on the ketogenic diet, so beer is the only thing he can have that has carbs in it. Did you do it yourself? And for once, I would probably like to recommend the audiobook, because I shouldn't say for once because my audiobooks are great, but if you like an audiobook, there's an American actor, and he's just fantastic. And even though I knew all the punchlines, I still laughed listening. So if you like an audiobook, I would really recommend this. Just put on your headphones and disturb anyone else near you by just laughing out of nowhere, seemingly. So and it's a good one if you're feeling a little depressed maybe, and you've had enough of the daily news, just for half an hour in the evening before you switch off the light to have a bit of a giggle.
Yeah, I think that might be the perfect way to go as well. And for those people who are, and I know there are people, and I'm going to be honest with you, despite the fact that we are friends, I was one of those people. Books with dragons in them immediately made me go, But this is, as you said, you've taken a crime book and put a dragon in it, and you've taken a supernatural beast and put him in the middle of a crime story, and then a lot of it's just a comedy too.
Well, it's mostly comedy, I would say. I mean, I just like to drop these disparate elements together just to challenge myself and see what. I mean, you say that's not going to work. Now, how can I make that work? So yeah, it was like an experiment, really. I hadn't done an adult book in a while, and I wanted to do something that was character driven, and it's really a long two-hander, and
And I think if people are sufficiently interested as well, I rarely do the backhand reference, but you and I did one of the episodes of the first series of the book show recently on Radio Line as well, from that very room that you're in, and it's a kind of nice long 30-minute chat between the two of us about the book as well, and people can find that wherever you get your podcasts. Just look up the book show or TE. Tell me about 3 books, and I've no sense of what you've picked now, so this is really interesting. You've picked 3 books. There are no criteria for any of the authors. You can pick whatever you like. What have you got?
Well, first of all, I have this book that I would say never read this during a pandemic, but it's Bird Box. And I really enjoyed this, Josh Malerman. It's kind of a horror. It is a horror, but it's basically about a pandemic of maybe aliens, maybe germs. We're not sure. But if you see this thing, whatever this thing is, and you never really find out, then you get suicidal thoughts. So basically, you have to never see anything. So everybody's going around with blindfolds tied over their eyes.
Looking like Sandra Bullock.
Looking very like Sandra Bullock, because in the movie it was Sandra Bullock. But she has to get her kids downriver without ever taking these blindfolds off. So it's very thrilling, very well written. And to do it all, or at least 2/3 of it, just without using any description that you might see. So you have to build up the descriptions in the book from sound mostly. And I didn't know whether that would work. It's similar. There's a book called Perfume, which I also really, really love, which is done a lot through the sense of smell. And you just think, how is that going to work in a book? How good would that writer have to be? And in that particular book, Perfume, which would be on many people's lists.
Specifically on the list of Liz Nugent mentions it, I think, in almost every conversation we have, she talks about Patrick Susskind's Perfume.
Yeah, so he is that good. And, it's one of those books you read and it changes. If you're a writer, sometimes books change how you write. And I think that book, Perfume, certainly made me think a lot harder about certain passages in the books, or to appreciate what could be done. I mean, my books are dialogue driven, really, but books like that just make you step back and have a think about what you're doing. And I find that if I'm reading a really good book and I'm really enjoying it, then I just have to put it down and go and write something. And that's, for me, is always a sign that that book has gotten through to me, that I have to actually put it down, half in admiration, half in bitter, twisted jealousy. Actually, 70% jealousy.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's a perfectly acceptable reaction to something.
It's a good driver. It's a good driver. You go away and you work hard to yourself. So yeah, I would say Bird Box, because I do like a good thriller. I mean, my favorite thriller of all time would be Marathon Man, which I don't know which came first, the movie or the book. I think the movie, but it was the same guy who wrote both of them anyway.
It's one of the few ones that I've read, William Goldman's Marathon Man. I think I read it after I saw the movie, though, with Laurence Olivier. And you've just done a fast forward thing, and now you've done a complete pause thing. This is the first time we've had one of these. You've got a very surly face on you right now.
I lost.
No, you haven't lost us. You just coming and going. No, there you go. You're back. There you go. You had a surly face on for about 4 seconds. It was very unlike you.
I think someone tried to ring me. I should have done a do not disturb. I neglected to. So, do you want to move on to the?
Yeah, because we've had 3 books for the price of 1 there, which is really good, and that's going to give people loads to think about. What have you got for book number 2?
Another cheery one. This is a massive graphic novel.
Oh yes.
From Hell, speaking of surly faces, this is by Alan Moore, who's possibly the grand uncle of sci-fi and graphic novels, and so many movies and TV shows have been based on his work. But this one is the story of Jack the Ripper. But even more than that, it's kind of a dissection of English society, London society in the Victorian era. So it's, as much as it's about the murder of those five ladies, it's about the city that surrounds that and the beliefs. And it's dark, darkety, dark, and
Yeah.
it's great, but you will be a bit depressed after reading it, and you probably wouldn't read it in one go. And if you did, you would probably come out the other end like Jack the Ripper. So I would say parcel it out during sunlight hours. But you will never. They made a movie of this, but it's nothing. It is nothing like the book. They literally just took the two names and put Johnny Depp in it, and I mean he was good in it, but it wasn't this. It wasn't this
Yeah.
one. So if you like graphic novels, or I tell you, actually, if you don't like graphic novels and you say to yourself, I would never like one, a dragon book, two, a graphic novel, read this, and then get back to me, and then tell me that's not literature, because it beats a lot of literature into a cocktail. But it is quite gruesome, as you can imagine. Even the cover is pretty gruesome, but the drawing is very spare. It's very fluid. There's so many strands in that story. It goes everywhere from the gutters of Soho into the royal family. So yeah, I couldn't recommend that more highly. I could have
Yeah.
done just all graphic novels.
I will add one onto that as well in terms of from Hell. And yeah, you're right. You could take 3 or 4 Alan Moore graphic novels and just put them out and just go. If people
Yeah.
get the chance to read any of his stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
if you've never read Watchmen, you probably should have read Watchmen at this point.
Well, Watchmen, I think, is a fantastic example, and it's kind of another indictment of society, really, where he's going through the American, or sorry, not Civil War, the Vietnam War, and you know how politics controlled all these armies at that point, and still does. So yeah, that's a good one, and people have tried to make that into a movie and a TV show. I think the TV show was more successful, the recent one that they did, but that's
Yeah, I
because
was no. Again, I was very concerned about the TV series because I'm quite proprietary about it.
yeah,
The movie is fine. I thought the recent TV series was really smart, really clever, did a lot of
yeah,
really interesting things. But
yeah,
you've got to have read the graphic novel, I think, to maybe get a handle on a lot of what's going on.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think that's. I don't know. If, I was going to say that's a good jumping off point if you've never read a graphic novel, but that's a little bit like going in at the deep end.
Yeah.
Maybe you should read Watchmen or V for Vendetta or The Dark Knight Returns, something like that, to get you in, and then flex your graphic novel muscles a bit, and then try From Hell in the middle of summer.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely not done in dark hours all in one go. Book number 3. What's your final one? What are you going to recommend?
I have a book here called Lola. I don't know if you've heard of this one. It's by Melissa Scrivener Love, and this again is a thriller, and it's set in South Central LA with the gangs there and the cartels there's an escalating war between various cartels, and there's one little tiny gang called the Crenshaw Six, which is being run by a leader called Garcia, but actually, it's not being run by Garcia. It's being run by his partner Lola, and she is the real smart, but she knows that if anybody knows that she's running the gang, that they will lose a lot of respect. And so she kind of does it from behind the scenes. And she gets into a lot of trouble as this book progresses with with the police, but also with the cartels. And she has to sort it out. And it's kind of ruthless and brutal, but it is very, very engaging. And I think once you start reading it, it's one of those books where the voice is so accomplished and so natural, and it flows so well. I think American Dirt was like that as well. You just start reading it, and then it's like you're on a downhill slope and you have to finish. I would put that is just as good, and you just lose yourself in that book, and you forget. And it's another reason I picked it is it goes with my walls. I think that's
it's a whole color coordination thing, of course.
Very valid reason.
Of course.
So yeah, and I love places that you feel, or books that you feel, whoa, I've been there now nearly. I've been in that place because I feel like I've been there, and this is one of those books that does that for you. So I've kind of gone for exciting books tonight. Really, Bird Box has a great fluidity to it, and even From Hell. I mean, I suppose that is very engrossing. although it's not one you could finish uh, in a single sitting. I think maybe it could take a couple of weeks and some therapy, and then you'd be fine.
Like any good book. I got some comments that have come in. Gillian says recently bought High Fire, can't wait to read it. Gay says your office is red hot, in a minor level punch, pretty good.
Nice.
Fiona says I just bought High Fire today, looking forward to getting stuck in. Mary says I could listen to Owen all night. Mary says I could listen to Owen all
There
night.
you
I'm
go.
just going to get the tongue
You really,
right on that.
Mary. I don't sound like this. I'm just doing my Pierce Brosnan voice. I actually, I'm actually, yeah.
Sinead says, hi Owen, will there be any more Daniel McAvoy books?
I hope so. Daniel McAvoy was the star of two books I did, Plugged and Screwed, and he was a bouncer who was an Irish guy who, after the war, he was a peacekeeper in Lebanon with the Irish Army, and he went to New Jersey afterwards because his mum was American, and now he works as a bouncer in New Jersey, and they were such fun to write. I mean, I really enjoyed them, and I had been to Jersey a few times, so I was able to base it on my very limited experience. So I did two, and I feel that's not really a good number for some reason. So I would like to go back and do another one. So just to make it three. So yeah, I think I'll probably do one more. I don't know when I'll do it. At the moment, that it is with a TV company in the States, Double Nichols. So if they go ahead and develop it properly, I will probably round it off with a third book.
And now that we're on to the nature of conversations about your books being turned into things, we have to talk about the Artemis Fowl movie because
Yeah.
over the course of years, you and I have had a number of conversations about this. Those conversations
Yeah.
ran through ultimately Disney picking it up, it then having a director, it then having a screenwriter, it then being filmed, having an amazing cast, trailers being out there. And now a global pandemic gets in the way. So what's the story with the Artemis Fowl movie?
At the moment, it was about 10 days ago, we were presented with a choice, and the choice was either it gets pushed out indefinitely, because even though it's a big budget movie, it's not an established series. So when you have Marvel stuff and Star Wars stuff and other stuff coming out, they all get the first slots. So all these movies like Mulan and Black Widow, and they're all being pushed back and pushed back. So, and the other choice was put it on Disney Plus directly in the next month or two as their big summer blockbuster. And at the moment, Disney Plus is the only part of Disney that's actually really operating, because the cruise ships are shut down, obviously, the parks are shut down, and the cinema releases are shut down. So the only thing that's doing anything Disney wise is Disney Plus. So Kenneth, uh, we talked, and well, I mean, they talked to me just to be nice, but they decided they are, at least they are nice. They decided that Disney Plus was the way to go. So it's going to be kind of the tentpole movie on Disney Plus. It's never happened before that a movie of this budget has gone straight onto a streaming service that wasn't
But
that
bizarre
wasn't made
times
for
make
that.
for bizarre reasoning.
Yeah, so I think it's a good thing. I hope it's going to work. I hope people watch it. I know there are people who won't have Disney Plus, but my advice to you, and this is not the company line, is do your 7-day free trial when they put that movie out, and then you can watch it. So there is a way around that.
There is a small irony as well in that it is quite possible that it, if and when it comes out on Disney Plus, that it may over the space of the first 2, 3, 4 weeks be seen by an exponentially larger number of people than would have seen it in cinemas.
Oh, huge number of people, because people tend to watch stuff on Netflix just because it's there. I've certainly watched movies that come out that I would never have gone to, but
Yeah.
I'm sad. Well, I'm here. Jackie's here. The boys are here. Let's find something we'll all watch. And so it could do really well there. I mean, I hope it does. It does really well, and I'm certainly looking forward to it. But my only disappointment is, Rick, I thought I would be going on like a tour of LA So I bought like 2 pairs of chinos, and now I have 2 pairs of summer chinos with no home to go to. So my Gant chinos will be in the. They're going to be in the wardrobe for a year, I think.
Or you can just wear them walking around the back garden of the space of the next couple of weeks, which is it's an honourable
Can
way
I
to do.
admit something?
You can, yes.
I am wearing them right now, even though this weather does not warrant. Well, I suppose it's very close to lightweight chino weather. I'm
You may
certainly
as well get a
comfortable.
bit of wear out of them.
May
That's
as
the whole
well.
idea.
But the weather could turn, Rick. The weather could turn.
Dan, that's the Wexford man and you talking. Our time is pretty much up. It has been an absolute pleasure to come into the Red Room and have a bit of a chat about everything tonight and about those books. For people who are looking for people are looking for the details of the books Eoin has recommended, I'm sure Liz has them in comments now at this stage. But Eoin,
have you got Liz working? Have you got Liz working there?
Yeah. Well, Liz, to be honest with you, is working me with the pedal most of the time anyway. She just works the pedal and then I say things out loud and she puts stuff up on screen that I have to say. So yeah.
Well, hello to Liz, the real brains behind the operation, as we all know. Liz and Jackie, as we both know, are in control.
It's becoming Liz says, I'm not kidding you. Liz says in a little box on the side of the screen, hello, Eoin, say it. So just, there you go. She says it there, it comes out here. Right. I will talk to you soon, my friend, and I will see you in reality as soon as that is possible. And thanks a million for coming on tonight. Cheers.
Yeah, look after yourself. Take care.
And you. Take it easy. Stay safe. That's Eoin Colfer from the Red Room in the bottom of his garden doing tonight's show. Thanks a million to Eoin for coming. And Eoin has turned himself off. There you go. He's done. There you go. Thanks a million for watching the show tonight. If you want to catch any of the other shows, they are available in the announcements section. It's been a long old brain week. If you are knocking around over the next few days on RTE Gold tomorrow from 10 a.m., we're simulcasting RTE Gold again, as we've done the previous few weekends, this coming Saturday and Sunday. So I'm knocking around on RTE Radio 1 and on RTE Gold this coming Saturday from 3:30 till 6 o'clock. And we will have another set of shows next week, none on Bank Holiday Monday because I deserve the night off. Instead, our next 2 shelf analysis shows Wednesday and Thursday of next week at 7 p.m. If you're not knocking around for any of those, have yourself a brilliant Bank Holiday weekend and we'll see you next week. Thanks.